Hello everyone. How are we all? Hopefully everything's come through just fine and you can hear me just nice and clearly. Good evening and welcome to tonight's live show. As you can see, I'm slowly updating some of the graphics here in preparation for the 3-year anniversary live streams and events that we're doing in late of October. Tonight is a live question time. In every Wednesday we do a live show answering your questions. So if you have a question you want me to answer as best as I can, leave it into chat and I'll try and catch it and try and answer it for you. It could be about Unreal, could be about game dev, could be about gaming, could be about anything you like, cooking. No, I'm not good cook, whatever you want. Yeah, put them in chat and so forth. So a few announcements. That's why I've got this big screen set up. First of all, if you're unaware, private tuitions are open. All the September slots are now booked, and we're now taking slots for October. They do go quick, so if you are interested, try to book ahead of time. Okay, I'm trying to fit everyone in as best I can in my evenings. So bear with me, trying to fill up all the slots as best I can. I've been solid all through September, and October is now starting to fill up. So you want to get in there as soon as you can. Other than that, you also may have seen the news that I am doing my first ever games jam for the channel as part of the 3-year anniversary live stream event, spectacular, whatever you want to call it. So check it out. It's on itch. Go to itch.io and search for Ryan Laley Game Jam and you'll find it on there. And the theme will be announced live on October 24th. To kick off the 3-year anniversary celebration. There are prizes. So the first place prize will get a $100 Amazon gift voucher, as well as 4 private one-to-one sessions which don't expire. You can use them whenever you like. 2 runner-ups will also get 1 private session. Again, never expires. You can use it whenever you like. So lots of cool stuff up for grabs. It's going to be a slightly different from your normal games jam, but more than that when we release the theme. And so I'm trying to make it as inclusive as possible, so everyone can join in. If you are new, experienced, or whatever with Unreal and games development. Okay, so I've got chat open on the window. So hello everyone. Let's see who we got here. So I have hello Saray, hello James Jocelyn. Deimos, hello. Olamide, David, hello. Snapple mutant, sorry, howdy. Kowalski, Sergey, hello. Hello, everyone. Okay. Let's have a look. What have we got so far? So, what questions have we got? Let's have a look. Snapple mutant. Animated actor while paused without using time dilation doable. So is that meaning that you want an actor to be animated whilst the game is paused? Is that what you're trying to do? Because if that's the case, you've got an animation going on. Let's just put an actor in here. So this actor here for blah 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 is going to be an animated thing. If you want that to be animated still whilst pausing, you can just open it up and you should have in the class default something to do with pausing. Yeah, so tick even when paused. So tick that on and that means it will continue animating and running all its code whilst the game is paused. So tick even when paused. Okay. Hopefully that will solve what you're trying to do there, Snapple mutant. Sorry, how to make a shop system inside my game with skins, etc. I've got a shopkeeper series. It's basically that. If you want it to be a real money thing, that's a lot more complicated and it deals with a lot more storefront style. And I see it as your first game, so I would avoid dealing with any real money transactions. If you want to just put a normal shopkeeper with an NPC in there where you can buy in-game skins with in-game currency, totally easy. You can check out my series on shopkeeper stuff. I'll cover it there. But if you want to do, so if you want to do an actual real money house, then yeah, so it's a lot more work. You'll have to do C++, I think, for it. I think I have to check it out. Snapple didn't work. The tick, even when paused, didn't work for you. What are you trying to do, Snapple? Be interested to know what you're trying to do. George O'Reader. Hey Ryan, do your thing. AAA RPG game like Assassin's Creed and Witcher use distance. Oh, do I think so? AAA RPG games like Assassin's Creed and Witcher use distance matching or route motion or motion matching system for locomotion. So yeah, it's always going to be a mixture. So Assassin's Creed uses IK based system a lot of the time, especially for its climbing. So when their hands go up, it looks for a handhold and it uses IK to position the hand correctly. But it's a mixture of that plus route motion. So when you do jumps, it forces the player forward. Whenever you lose control of the movement of the character, that's route motion. So attacks, leaps, things like that. In Assassin's Creed and Witcher, they would be route motion. But it's always going to be a mixture of stuff. You wouldn't stick with just one. It's all about making sure you use the right tool in the right place. I am very tired, Rusty. Right, I'm barely keeping myself awake. I was recording last night and I was so tired. I started referring to myself in the third person. It was nuts. Yeah, very tired. Snapple mutant, basically a 3D character in an inventory menu, pausing the game. I've actually done that on my FPS RPG series, which is on Patreon. It's exclusive to Patreon for a long while. So if you want to see how it's done, unfortunately you have to go to Patreon. It's just $1, but you can see it for yourself. It's the first chapter in the FPS RPG series. It's basically like Destiny menu. Sean Yeats. If I create a custom button, etc., widget class to implement into a variety of user interfaces, do I have to use event dispatchers in each of the UIs to assign functionality to those custom buttons? No. If I create a custom button, etc., widget class to implement into a variety of user interfaces. Okay, let's have a look at that. I'm guessing by what you're describing, I imagine you'd go into blueprint class here. Search for the button widget and click select and call it a custom button. Open it up, and in here you'll have all the different settings you have for normal buttons. Yeah. And on the functions, no, I haven't done button one before, so I'm not too sure. You should be able to do an on clicked somehow. Parent class button. Yes, I want to see my parent functions. Maybe you can't. Let me just take that out. So if I do a custom button there and then got a widget that's going to hold the custom button. Custom button. So oh yeah, so there's your custom button. So no event dispatcher, nothing on that. You just drag it in, and it should come in with these events. Okay, and that's my custom button. That's the thing I just made. Is that what you're trying to do? Let me know. The idea is to create a button template to implement in different interfaces, but you can't access the on-clicked event via those interfaces if that interface is itself nested in another interface. Jesus, okay. So yeah, you can only access the on-clicked event if you've got a direct reference to the button. So depending on how nested it is, it depends on what you're trying to do. I personally try and keep the on-clicked events with the button, wherever the button is. Is that it? Is what I showed you correct, Sean? Can you let me know if that's right? To do different things in different instances. Oh, right. Okay. I want the button to do different things in different instances. Trying to think what you're trying to do, because when you add a button into your thing, obviously you customize what the button does here. I don't know, or are you trying to lock it down into what it can do? Yeah, I'm not too. I'm very confused, Sean. What you're trying to get out of this, and like, I'm sure you got a valid reason around it. But trying to wrap my head around why you want to go around this way. Yeah, maybe we should. If you can send me sort of diagrams or anything like that to try and explain it visually, it may help me understand what you're trying to achieve here, and that'll help me get you to a solution or a workaround fix. Yes, everyone. I'm a tutor. I teach at college in England. I teach games development, obviously. This is my work shirt. It is about 11 o'clock at night here at the moment here. It's weird back at work. This is our third week back. It's our third week of teaching, maybe the second week of teaching. Well, no, it's very strange and a bit anxious to deal. Yeah. T1N1N question: do you know how to draw a visible line from one point to another on a sphere, maybe with a spline, but how can this be done in Blueprint? Draw a visible line from one point to another on a sphere. So you want to draw a line from one point of a sphere to the same point, another point exactly on that sphere. A line. Is that right? Is it? Can you let me know in chat? Yeah, correct. Okay. So you'd have to, if you want the line to be a 2D line that's drawn on the screen, it has to be a 3D widget. I believe. Or no, so you don't have to be actually. You can do. You can do. For example, if I go into the first person HUD here, you'll see an example of this. So you can actually event receive draw HUD. Use that event here. You can use it in anything here. You don't have to do it in this one, but you do event receive draw, and you got draw texture, but you also have other draw. You have draw line. Yeah, draw a line, and you tell it where to draw and what to draw. Target is HUD, so you can use a HUD class to do this, and that draws that. Getting you start screen, start Y, end screen, end Y, and you'd get the X and Y positions based on projection. So to do projection, you get world location, project world to screen. So you use project world to screen, and you'll get your screen position, which you could split. And so you get your starting point, that'll go into there, and you get your end point, and that'll go into there, and you draw this on the HUD class, and you can draw then on the screen. Hopefully that helps you get started there, T1N1. So, for example, if I just drew this like here, and if I were to get player controller, that goes there, that goes there. World position, we're going to get if I were to just make vector, just type in a random value, and we'll do a 500, 300, 300, and we'll do 1000, 600 and 100. Okay, and that should hopefully do it. Line thickness would do to 10. Line color we'll do like a light blue. Actually no, because that's the same color as the sky. Let's do a red or an orange. There you go. So now look around for it. If it worked, that is. Don't know if it's worked. Well, maybe if I was to do new editor window. No. I haven't used this before, so I don't know if what the thickness needs to be. What should see a line somewhere. I'm just going to print string. This return value. The return value on this basically means whether it's inside the screen or not. So hit compile. Oh shit, that one there. And then, by the way, if I do miss your question, just keep putting it into chat. I will look around and get it. Okay, interesting. So that hasn't come up with anything. Why not? Oh wait, I think the way I've got it set up isn't going to work. Hang on. I don't know which one this is. Okay. Let's just try them all. Because I've got duplicate folders. No, that should come up with at least something. Hang on. Wall settings. I don't know which one it's going to be. Right, let's just change it around. There you go. Well, there you go. So yeah, drew it very large. I just had the wrong HUD class in, but that's how you draw a line. So if I turn it down, let's do that. There's 10. Okay, and it's now drawing this line. Does that help you out, T1N1? Okay, so you want like a flight path on a sphere. I don't know if you can actually draw a curved line. curve? No. If not, it will need to be a spline. Draw. I think it may need to be a spline, mate, if you want to do it curved. Okay, let's have a look. Oh wow, thank you, Brett. The cost difference between a blend space versus blend nodes. I don't think there's much in it. You can, if you search for the profiler for that animation stuff, I don't know it off by hand. Maybe I can find it. Hang on. Profiler for animation. Well, I haven't got any example to show. There's not going to be much difference in it. Barely anything. What are you concerned about, Brett? Do I prefer one over the other? Again, it's one of those things. It's not about a matter of preference. It's a matter of time and place. So trying to and understanding when to use one is better than the other. So I would use a blend space more if I've got a load more variable data. So for example, I've got an example in here. So here's a blend space for their jog. They've done. So here, a blend space is very useful because you're using what we call analog data. So here I'm using analog data to handle my blending and using that to blend multiple things together really easily. A blend node is better if something's going to be one or the other, or temporarily merge. So I usually use the blend node if for conditional things. So if the player is aiming their weapon, or if they're in swimming mode or flying mode or whatever, you switch over using a blend node that way. That's the when I would typically use it. They both have their uses. It's understanding when do you want to use one, the other. Oscar Alguin, hello. I want to attract enemies to the center of a black hole to bring them together and then hit them all together. Use negative radial force to bring them to the center, but when they reach the center they start to orbit strangely. Is there a better way to do it? Now the reason why they do that is because their collision capsules are all colliding together, and unfortunately there's no way around that because they're just going to hit each other and like rub against each other. It's like rubbing like two slippery balls together. They're going to just keep flipping out. So instead you can either make them overlap other enemies, which is the easy way, but it means they all come onto one spot. Or you, what would you do? You could try turning up their dampening so that when they hit each other, they don't slip around and do other stuff. Dampening is handled on the actor. Hang on, I'll show you. So on the capsule component of your player of the enemy character, you'd find physics and you'll see linear dampening and angular dampening. Turn this up and it'll stop them slipping and sliding across each other. You're welcome, Brett. Point. Hi, Ryan. Have you got many people sign up for the game jam? Let's take a look. I think so far it's got 22 people signed up for it. So if you guys haven't yet checked it out, head over to itch.io and search for Ryan Laley Game Jam or Ryan Laley Jam, and you can join the game jam, which is starting on the 24th, and I'll announce the theme on the 24th, and it runs through to the 28th, and there are prizes to be won as well. So check it out, all the details up there. Daniel Aguila. My question is how to make a holographic in-game minimap that you press a button and it shows a surrounding area, kind of like the Division map. Interesting. How would you do that? Ugh. The holographic part isn't too difficult because that's just a material shader. The thing that is going to be tricky is the 3D-ness of it, the 3D mesh of it. The one way I can envision you doing it is storing the map data as a height map data and applying it to a mesh that then raises up and down based on the height map data. That's one way. The other way is to have a very scaled down, very low quality detailed version of the map, and you use a sphere. Hang on, I'll see if we can do a basic example. Hang on. Let's do. Okay, I'm just gonna make it a blueprint class, but ideally make this a static mesh. So map, and in this 3D map, we're gonna just put in some buildings and floor. Okay. And here. One building. Obviously, you model this, you don't do what I'm doing. It's just it's going to take too long for me to load up the modeling software. For example, okay, so you build out your map like so. And when you spawn it into world, imagine if you spawn it into world and it looks like this. Now to make it holographic, we can use a material shader. Hologram map. And this thing will be a post-process. Will it be a post-process? Yeah, it would be. And then we would get a sphere trace. Would it be a post-process? It must be. Yeah, it must be. Not sphere trace, sphere mask. And about then there. No, it wouldn't be that, would it? Going thick, hang on. Yeah, no. We want to do sphere mask. Scene texture. And change that to custom depth. And that'll be that. And I forget what B needs to be. Crap. Jesus. World position, I think it might be. Oh, man, I can't remember now. I have to do some research into this one. Radius, we'll do. Leave it to 256. We'll have to mask this. Let me just see what this does. And put post-process in. Add this to it. And then this thing, we want to make sure this is set to render in the custom depth. I have to go into each one. Balls. This is why it's a good idea to have this as a single mesh to this nonsense. And we'll unbound this so it affects everything. Okay, I've done it wrong. Let me quickly Google it. I can't remember now how you use the sphere mask. Object position. Object position. And whilst I'm looking this up, let's have a look what people are doing. I've forgotten entirely how to use a sphere mask. Okay, so it is absolute world position, but that goes in A, not B. And then we're using the location of the object of the no. Not entirely sure. Doesn't help that I'm super tired. I want to do not as a post-process then. But this will be translucent. Sphere mask on a translucent. We then get the object position. I don't know. Let's see what this does. If not, I'll add it to a list of stuff that I want to try and make because that's quite a cool one to do. I've got to do all these ones. Hang on. Camera position is this one. Maybe. So you got this sort of thing. I don't know where I put it. Where did I put it? Down here? Yeah. So you got this sort of thing. So you just do increase the radius a little bit here. So we'll do 512 instead. Hardness we'll do as 10. Wait for the shaders to compile. Maybe the hardness is too low, but you can do this sort of technique. To spawn the map, you just make it spawn when a key press. Maybe that. I don't know. Try, it's a place to start at least. Oh, there you go. You got a Snapple mountain. Well done. Get a gaming job. How often do you guys use ticks? I'm always wary of them since it feels like they are expensive, but I don't really have any ground for that. Okay, so a tick by itself isn't expensive. What you do on it could be. Ticks are, again, like as I've been saying throughout this, there's a case use for everything. Ticks are useful by definitely, but if you're doing something on a tick, you have to make sure that that's the right place for it. And you want to avoid doing anything that's expensive to do on a tick. So, for example, casting on a tick is expensive. You don't want to do that. But if you need to, say, keep track of the player's movement, that's on a tick. All the access inputs that you do on a controller, they're all ticks. It's just another variation of them. So it all depends on what you're doing with the tick. So whatever you're planning out, make sure you've thought about it clearly and deeply, and to make sure that what you're trying to do can only be done on the tick. Sometimes timelines would work better. Timelines are nicer. They are a sub-tick like category. They will run their own sort of thread, and but they end. They end, and that's it. So it's quite nice. But tick obviously goes on forever and ever and ever. So again, it's one of those. It's case by case. James Jocelyn. Hey Ryan, I'm starting to make a rock climbing system for my game, and I would be interested in seeing how you'd go about it. Would you be interested in making a series on this? I mean, it'd be cool to make a series on that, but I've no idea when I'll ever get around to doing it. But rock climbing, so you do IK placement. So you do I'm going to mime it, okay? So you've got your actor, they get into this sort of position or whatever, and then you do line traces out for grab holds, which are going to be like maybe invisible markers on the map. So you do line traces out to find what you need to do. So you do and find them. Once you've found them, you use that position to move the hand to that position using IK blend spaces. So if you're using my foot IK series to explain how IK works, essentially it's the same for arms. So you just need to figure out where you want to go. So usually you do a line trace from the hand to the position you want to look at. So if it's like Assassin's Creed, where you're holding a direction on the gamepad, you can focus your line traces on a particular angle, so they don't do the whole 360. You can just push them in one direction. If it hits something and within reach, they do it at a certain distance, the arm can reach out, and then you can move the body to an once it reaches out like that, you move the actor's body to be in between that arm and that arm. So when you move it, it's now going to be disproportionate. So then you move the body to match the center of the two arms, and then you go up like that, and again you move the body up to match the center of the two arms, and you just do that. That's essentially what it is. It's too much to do in tonight's show, and it's something I could do as a series, but it's a matter of just time. Yeah. Daniel, can you make a mesh out of the map with a scene capture you use for minimap? No, you can't, unfortunately. Aldrich Grasco, hey Ryan, love your content. Do you have any videos that talk about connecting your game to an external database, for example, MySQL? I don't have any videos on it, no. But your SQL just outputs basically comma-separated values. So once you've got that, in theory, it's not too bad. I've never looked for it. Let's have a look now. You need to... I don't think you can do any HTML stuff in here. No. Web? No. Online? No. So it need to be C++ because they don't have any HTML based things in here. Go download maybe. Just download images, that's all. Yeah, I think you have to do a C++ class. Because you want to do something to get this comma-separated value output from MySQL. But I don't know how you'd go about doing that. Hopefully, there may be some plugins that allow you to do it, which will save you some time. SB, is it possible to switch between more than 2 weapons on your shooter series? I don't seem to be able to do that. Yeah, so you can't follow my shooter series blindly if you wanted to have multiple weapons. What you're going to have to do is decide first of all how your weapon switch is going to happen. Are you going to have number keys doing it, or is it going to be a scroll wheel, whatever it is? If it's a scroll wheel, you're looking at an array, and as you scroll, you're choosing the active index. So you have an array that holds all the weapons you have, and then you'll have an active index, and the active index will change based on your scroll wheel up and down. And when it detects that change, then it will take out the new weapon. Essentially, that's what it is. If you want to do number pad, then the number keys will be tied to a particular element of that array. So if I hit 1, it's going to go to array index 0, 2, array index 2, 1, so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay. Do scroll up, see if there's any more. Nobby Nobs, how bad are checking branch events on Tick? I think they're pretty much nothing if they're just checking a ball value. They're very cheap. They don't cost nothing. SB, no, you will have to keep track of ammo yourself somewhere else. So that would be on another array or another save file, whatever. No. You need to keep track of that elsewhere. I mean, there are other ways of doing it than the way I did it. The way olden games do it, and some new games do it as well, is the weapons that you have equipped on you are on your person. They're just hidden from view and on the back. So the player's back is just filled with all these weapons, and when they go to bring it out, it just brings it out. And then so the instances, they all have their ammo and all that tied to them there. So if you're dealing with loads of ammo, weapons, that may be easier to deal with. So try doing that. Noah Gomez, hey, can you show an easy way to use a displacement map? I can try. You get one first. Unless this one is starter content. I don't know if, I can't remember if there is or not. Let's have a look. Or anything we could use as a displacement map, I guess. We could use this stuff, I guess. No, we'll use the water material, this thing here. We'll use this as our displacement map. Okay. Okay, so displacement maps. The main thing is that you need a mesh with loads of vertices on it. And now I need to do that. How can I do that easily and quickly? I don't think we can add vertices in Unreal. Let me just double check. Wireframe. No. Nope. Okay. So we need to make a model. We'll use a sphere because spheres have lots of tessellations. Yeah. But basically, you need a mesh that's got a load of vertices. You can't displace something without vertices. So you need vertices. Once you've got that, so we'll use our shape sphere here. Let's create the material. And should get our texture. It was a water one, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so this one we need to turn on this tessellation and world displacement, and I forget which one this does to do that. I forgot which one it is to do it. Okay, so this tessellation mode, you want to change to flat, or you can choose PN triangles. Flat works just fine. And then if I change that to wireframe, you can see the tessellation happening. So this is what tessellation does with the material. So yeah, there's a way to tessellate in this. So let's actually use a different shape. So I've got a plane here. Cube. We may need to up the tessellation of it though. I'm not going to do it. No, not going to tessellate. Oh, there you go. Just takes a while. So there's a tessellation happening for the cube here. I'm going to do it on a plane, so it's easy to see. But there you go. Alright, so this needs to go into the world displacement. So you plug that in there. I have to wait for it to tessellate and do all that stuff. Okay, and then you do a multiplier here, and the multiplier is how affected it is by the displacement. I can't remember what kind of numbers you need to put in here. Let's just put 10 in. May have to be more. I can't remember. Oh no, that's the tessellation multiplier. It's not multiplied by that, it's multiplied by this. So you can see it working a little bit there. If I turn it back to lit. Okay. So it takes the black bits and keeps them sunk, and the white bits extrude out. Okay. If you want it to only go in one direction, multiply this by a vector. And the vector you want to be based on the direction. So RGB is X, Y, Z. So if I make this just go in the X here, I put 1 there and leave the others at 0. And then plug that in. So now it'll only extrude out in the X axis. So you don't get it going up in like weird angles. Yeah. And that 10 value is how high, how far away it does it. So if we do, say, 30. And when it arrives, there you go. So you can use displacement that way. I say this is using the water texture, which isn't the best, but we can place that on something. So let's place it on this cube here. Okay, it's doing its thing. It will crack sometimes as well, like so. So be wary of what shapes you put this on. Typically, you only put it on planes or like non-sharp edges like this. Okay. But that's displacement. Be aware that displacement doesn't affect collision. It only affects the visuals. Thank you, Snapple Mountain. Thank you for the donation. Sorry about your sandwich. I had a spaghetti and meatballs for my lunch today. It's very nice. Get a gaming job. Anyone working with 3D in here? I'm trying to get a sense of how many texture maps one can have on props in a scene for like inside a room. Does people generally use 2048 or lower? Okay, here's my hot take on textures and what you need to do for them. Your material here can only have 16 textures. Now you can get around that using texture layering, but essentially you can only have 16 in the whole entire thing. Okay, so and that's one limitation. Secondly, when it comes to resolution of textures, always think about where the texture is going to be put. So I often see a lot of students of mine do this, and it's really annoying. So they'll make all the textures 4K, which is even more annoying considering the college we teach at doesn't have 4K monitors, so it's pointless anyway. But nonetheless, you don't typically have 4K textures on everything. The only thing that would ever have like 4K textures are things that are going to take up massive space on the screen. For example, if you are doing a prop of a I don't know, a box, okay, and the closest you can ever get to the box means it only takes up, say, 10% of your screen of a 4K monitor, 10% of it. There's no point in having 4K textures on it because it's only going to take 10% of that. So you can get away with a 512 by 512 texture and it'll look exactly the same. So think about where your object's going to be and how close you can get to it. If you look at games like Last of Us, etc., they are amazing looking games. But if you were just to pause for a second and take a look at some of their prop details, you'll notice the texture work is varied. Some of it is very low res, and you can get away with low res. So you want to get down as much as you can, but don't fall into the trap of putting 4K everything on anything. You typically only reserve that for stuff that is in camera all the time and takes up a lot of space, like characters' arms and a gun for FPS games. Oh, pardon me. Brandon Wall. Hey Ryan, I'm wondering if you can replicate the RPG FPS series for multiplayer support like Destiny. Yeah, you can. If you watch the online series stuff and then look at the FPS RPG series stuff, you should be able to hopefully figure out how you would go about that. The hard part of that stuff is dedicated servers, because that is going to involve C++ if you want to use dedicated servers. But yes, you can put in multiplayer support if you want. There are a few that won't be as easy as just like, oh, just do this bit, just do the replication part and it'll work. There'll be some niggling things that you'll probably find. So, yeah. You won't know until you actually get in there. You're welcome, Gaming Job. How would I implement a fishing pole that bends? A fishing pole that bends. I'm assuming you mean dynamically, so not a canned animation of it bending. Oh, sorry. How would you do that? It would have to be a skeletal mesh with like bones going like a spine along it, and then you change the constraints on the bones, because when you do a skeletal mesh, you have constraints. Hang on, let me find one. Nope. Where was it? Okay. So on the physics asset, when you import a skeletal mesh, you get this. And you get the pills, which are the collision boxes for the arms in this case. But you can click on them and you can see the constraints you have on here. And you click on the constraint here, and over on the right hand side you can change how locked they are, how not locked they are, and you can make it so that when you put weight on the end of it, it will then put it down. Maybe, I don't know. I would have to experiment with that. But it'd be a sort of ragdoll type deal, but really, really rigid. Honestly, the easier part would be to do a blend space. So blend it between full bend and straight bend, and blend between the two. That would probably be the easiest way of doing it. Hopefully that makes sense. Who was it who asked about the poll? Don't ask about the poll. Benjamin. Yeah, Benjamin. I would probably do. So I'd save the mesh, skeletal mesh out as bent, maximum bent, and then straight. And then do a blend space to animate between the two. That would be better. Reiner, will I do more streams for questions in the future? Yes, every Wednesday at this time we do a live stream for question time. So every Wednesday, and you'll get the video on demand of this one a week later. Patrons will get it straight after, but everyone else gets it a week later. We're at the end now, so I'll take a couple. And first, from your donation, you've done the donation. This is how tired I am. I missed it. I don't see it. First. I don't see a question for us. Oh wait, there you go. That's it. So my minimap series mentioned briefly at the end how you could add a point of interest to the map, but couldn't figure it out. Could you show how to do that briefly? I haven't got the files on here, so I can't do it right now. But I'll add it on my to-do list to add a video on how to do that. The reason why I didn't show it was the point of interest for the mini version and the max version are pretty much the same. It's all about translating the location of the point of interest on the minimap compared to the real world location. And with the scaled up map, it's essentially the same, it's just different scale. But But I can show you how to do a video of that. I'll have to re-download it and re-familiarise myself with it because it's been a few years since I looked at that. Okay, I think we're gonna have to end it there because I'm this close to passing out from tiredness. So, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Sorry if I didn't get around to your question. I will be doing this every Wednesday, so come by next Wednesday and ask your question there. Thank you for all my patrons for their continued support. Everyone that donated, thank you again so much. It really does help me out a lot, and it keeps me going. I teach and work all day. I come home and I put my kids to bed, and now I continue working. I continue doing one-to-ones, videos, live streams, 6 days a week, non-stop. So it's exhausting but rewarding, and I'm glad to see that I'm helping so many people out. In that case, then, have a great night. I'm off to get some sleep, and you can now listen to this dope soundtrack. And I'll see you guys at the weekend for our next live stream on Saturday. Bye bye, everyone.